This clown comes up because my mom, like, come here, waved him over. I turn around. I see him. I swing. My fight or flight kicked in, and I socked him straight in the fucking nose. I socked him and then ran really fast.
Question. Did the nose honk when you punched it?
No. It was like one of those rubber masks.
Oh, I was hoping it was like a honk. You know, that would have been funny.
You actually just punched yourself in the face. Did that hurt?
No.
Oh, that was actually good. I was like,
I'm a great actor, ergo a great clown. On tonight's episode of the Trash Guys podcast, we're just going to be clowning around. You and I, Guy and I, just two fucking clowns. That's it. Just two goobers, two silly billies, two, hee-haws. Because, yeah, we're down to clown tonight. Our topic is about the circus. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey's circus, which after a 6-year... He actually left. He's gone. He's out of here. What the fuck? I was reading the headline.
I don't tell no lies.
I was reading the headline for the article, and then I look over, and my co-host is just gone. He's just missing.
I slipped away.
Just vanished.
Like a snake.
Just. Oh man. Well, I mean, the Ringling Brothers did quite a disappearing act themselves, because they haven't had any shows since 2017. They had originally canceled the whole operation due to all the protests surrounding their use and treatment of animals in their show. So they canceled it, and they said they were going to come back. COVID kind of delayed that, but now they're actually back. They're so back.
Now, one thing that was weird, because when I was reading this article, before they even got crazy critiques about like all the animals and shit like that, they actually made the decision that they were going to stop using elephants. Way back when. So they were like, hey, yeah, we're going to stop using elephants in our show due to various reasons, whatever. And all the animal activists were like, yay, hooray. And then everybody that wasn't an animal activist was like, wow, this is going to be a shit circus. And then stopped going. And then they ran into financial troubles. And then that's really what led to them actually shutting down for a while, were all the financial issues. Because everyone's like, oh, you're not using elephants and you're going to start cutting more and more out. Like, why am I going to go? So it was kind of weird for a while, especially since they did just make that big return without any animals, right?
Yeah, that's right. All of their acts in this newly revamped 2023 show features, things like BMX bikers, like acrobats, but there are no animals whatsoever. There are no elephants, there are no tigers, there's just nothing. It's basically just human performers, which like is kind of in my mind, it was always the coolest part. Like, okay, so Guy told me off stream the absolute blasphemous fact that he had never gone to a circus, and I was like
that. You can't throw me under the bus like that. It's not my fault.
No, you know what? I will explain that. Why did you never go to the circus when you were a kid?
Okay. Here's the thing.
Are you scared of clowns?
I am scared of clowns, but that's not why I didn't go to circuses. I don't like clowns.
All right,
Anyways,
all right.
No, my parents, we don't really have circuses around where I'm at.
Okay.
That my parents never really took me. Like, we never really traveled for them. I know, like, honestly, when I think of circus, I think of two things. One, I think of the big red and white tent, fucking probably out in the middle of almost nowhere where they have space to set up, do whatever. The other thing I think of circus isn't necessarily a circus. It's more of a show, but like Cirque du Soleil and stuff like that, they do like the similar things, right? But it's down in Vegas on a fucking stage.
Right.
So like, I don't know if that's considered a circus. I've never been to one of those either, but they don't have either of those things where I'm at. And whenever I'd travel, it was just never on my like to-do list, I don't know.
It's just not a thing you ever really did. Well, let me tell you, when I was a kid, anytime the circus was in town, my parents would like try to take me. I don't know. We just liked going. It was just like a fun afternoon family activity to do. As my sisters were added to the party, we also brought them along as well. And there were circuses like everywhere. Because like you said, they tend to prop up in like relatively empty areas, and you are correct about that. And let me tell you, here in SoCal, we have a bunch of empty mall parking lots in front of abandoned JC Penney's. So circuses were everywhere. And so we would take the opportunity to go whenever we could.
We get a shit ton of fairs. I don't think that I don't consider that the same as a circus, but we get a shit ton of fairs. All those like all the rides and the fucking attraction games and maybe like a little haunted maze, like whatever, you know, we get a lot of those. But that's about the closest I've ever come. Or, you know, I've watched the Greatest Showman. That counts, right?
I guess. All right, you'll get a half point. Half a point there. But okay, so back to the circus itself. One of the coolest acts that I would ever see at any circus was there's this like giant steel cage sphere. It's a ball. It's a big ball. It's a big steel cage sphere. And then they get on the BMX bikes and they like go. It's so fucking cool.
Physics, bitch.
Yeah, it's like it's 100% dangerous. I'm like pretty sure that got them a lot of lawsuits, but man, it was cool.
Wait,
and
what?
It's always
Lawsuits?
Maybe, I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make is it's the one act in the circus that I always look forward to that stuck out every single time and is like the first thing I think of when I think back to my time at the circus. And no animals. It's just people on BMX bikes. So I do think that Ringling Brothers absolutely has the potential, and they've proved it with this return, to put on like really good shows without the need for animals. But the kind of like, I guess the focus for the conversation tonight that I really wanted to focus is like the people, not the people necessarily performing, but the people watching, you know? It is a big shift, you know? Ringling Brothers have been around for like what, like 100 years? Something like that, something crazy long. And up until a few years ago, animals were a really big part of their show, possibly for a lot of viewers, the main attraction of the show. And as you alluded to earlier, there's a lot of people that are like, well, the circus just isn't the same without the elephants. Me and my children will not be going unless we see a barely fed white striped tiger, you know? Like, that's just the circus experience for some people.
As someone who's never gone to the circus, when I do think of a circus, there are two things I think of that first come to mind immediately. People standing on elephants and doing like flips and shit and whatever, like that is one of them, and trapeze, like the trapeze fucking through the air. Like those are the two things that come to mind immediately when I think circus. And then obviously fucking fire rings or fucking whatever else they do, but that's all just from either I've seen it on a video, maybe it's from a movie, who knows how accurate it is, right? Like, but I also do know that old school circuses fucking used to be dangerous as shit. Like, yes, you have the people fucking putting their head inside fucking animals' mouths and shit.
What like, is it? The people like swallowing swords, right? Like except they would actually
you need to practice. Like, you need to practice that.
All right. Well, look, listen. There's a reason why I chose to be a clown on Twitch instead of one on the circus. Okay.
Okay. Fair. Now speaking of the old school circuses, I don't know. When we talked about this circus coming back again, never heard of circuses, never been to a circus. I've heard of them, but I couldn't tell you names of different circus groups. But this one specifically, the Ringling Brothers, has been around for 152 years.
That's long. So I thought it was like, what the?
No, 152 years. So they've obviously had their fair share of changes over the years, right? Like 152 years ago, what? Probably the time when they were using like
1870. Like slavery was a thing 5 years before they started. That's how long ago it was.
But I just want you to think about the things they probably got away with doing back in 1870, early 1900s. Like,
oh yeah,
they fucking were probably using the, like you see in movies, like how they grab the freaks, quote unquote, not trying to trigger anyone, but like they'd take those people who had those weird traits about them or could do just weird things, right? The strong man, the hairy woman, fucking all sorts of shit, right?
The carnies, I think, is what they would call like groups of people like that.
Yeah, it was carnies, whatever. Sometimes I remember hearing, obviously probably movie, I don't remember, but I remember hearing them advertise it as like, before they became the carnies, like one of the big trademarks was calling them the freaks, which was really weird. And people were like, oh my God, freaks, let's go look out. Like, 100 whatever years ago, right?
Yeah, before it was animals in cages, they put people in cages.
I know. But so obviously this isn't the first time they've had to do some type of major change.
Yes.
Obviously, I don't think they've had to take a 6-year break before, but they've always been able to adapt to the times, which is cool.
Although I do kind of miss the old school sound of like a circa 1900s ringmaster, right? You know they get like the top hat and the cane, and they're like, "Step right up, ladies and gentlemen, to watch the one, the only absolute freak show, the hairy woman," or what was the other one? The giant man, the one-eyed monster. Wait, no, that's something completely different. Anyway,
It was
but you know,
the
that's
human
sort of,
werewolf, and really, it was just the hairiest motherfucker.
It was just some guy that didn't shave, because I don't even know if like Gillette definitely wasn't around back then. That's for sure. Yeah, this is back when factories were still feeding asbestos to kids for breakfast.
Well, like looking at some of these videos and pictures from the recent show, I will say I find this stuff a lot more interesting. Than like some random animal training tricks. Like you got one person standing on someone's shoulders, and then you got someone holding 2 people on their shoulders, and they're doing some like double dutch bullshit. So someone is jumping off the ground with 2 people on top of them, like, and they're all keeping their fucking balance. I'm like, as somebody who has held one person on their shoulders like that, fuck no, I'm not even gonna jump with one person. I don't know what kind of roids these people are on, but Jesus fuck.
Yeah, it's just I like I said, this just goes back to the point where I've always felt that the human acts are the most impressive. Because when I think back to the stuff that they did with the animals, a lot of the novelty is like, oh, it's an animal. Like, woohoo, you got a dog to jump through a hoop. Don't get me wrong, it's cute and all, but like, it's not necessarily impressive. Again, the novelty is that it's an animal that does it. But with people, they go all out, and they absolutely push themselves to the limit, and I think that's a lot more fascinating and a lot more of a spectacle. I will say though that like you mentioned how they're evolving and adapting, and they are doing that because and I don't know if you've seen this part yet, but one of the show guides during their program adapts to the lack of animals by doing a dance-off with a robotic dog named Bailey. So show guides are kind of like the new age ringmasters, and they're kind of the people that sort of, you know, they're the filler in between like acts. Clowns used to take up this role. That's what the clowns were. They would, you know, be the funny haha to entertain you while they set up for the next big act. That's sort of what the modern day show guides are doing. And I guess one of the acts involves the show guide dancing with one of those, you know, those oh gosh, it's those like Boston MIT robot dogs with like the really angled. Yeah, it's one like that, but it's like they painted it like their like signature like purple yellow color combination, and gave it like a bunch of they gave it like feathery, like a furry exterior kind of thing, right? Just for the fun of it. I almost feel like they're poking fun at the like, look, it's not a real animal. You can't get mad at us, right? Which I'm like, all right, I think that's funny, but I think it is kind of interesting that they're now incorporating robotics into their shows, which is definitely like modernizing it. Yeah, a super modern move from them, and I'm really intrigued. I'm really intrigued to see how far these acts can continue.
AI is going to take over the circus.
Imagine AI clown, AI clown. It's just a robot clown, and all their jokes and stuff are AI generated. They have a camera so they can like scan people, and then they send like the data to like ChatGPT to come up with responses or like observational humor. I'd be down for it. I'd be down for a robot clown to roast the shit out of people in the audience. I'd pay for that.
Fucking like have you ever been to Dick's, the restaurant in Vegas, where they put that like hat on your head with a fucking insult? It's called Dick's, right?
I was thinking the sporting goods store. I was like, yeah, probably. Okay, no. You're talking about there's a restaurant in Vegas called Dick's, and it's like their whole thing is that they're rude to people. Like that's the thing is you pay for the experience to have the worst service and experience as possible. Which that's
what the robot clowns will do.
Like side note though, I would love to work there. God, how
that'd be so
cathartic
easy.
how cathartic must it be to be like a waiter at that restaurant and you're actually able to like talk shit to your customers.
Bro,
I would
and
love
what's
that so much.
funny is,
I'd love that so much.
you know what, we'd have to talk about it another day, but it'd just be too
Mhm.
easy. It'd just be too easy.
Too easy.
Because I just get to say all the shit I want to say on a day-to-day basis, and everyone's just gonna think, "Oh, he's funny." So Basuda, I wanted to
Mhm.
ask, since you've been to circuses and stuff before,
Yes.
if you had to pick like a top 3 or 5, like just pick a top few acts that you just love to see every time. Like obviously, you already mentioned the motorcycle ball, the death ball,
Mhm.
whatever the fuck it's called.
That's gotta be like my number one. I'll give you a top three just because I did go to the circus a lot when I was a kid, but it's admittingly been a few years since I've been to one. But yeah, so I will say my number two, and this one this might be kind of like a weird, boring one, but plate spinning, but specifically there's the
Like
guy
on the
there's a guy.
poles?
Okay, so there's a guy. Yeah, there's a guy in Vegas, right? The
Mhm.
Circus Hotel in Vegas, and they do basically what Ringling Brothers is doing now, which is they do like acrobatic acts with only people. Like there's no animals in the hotel. And there
Okay.
was this guy that was super fucking talented, and he could balance and spin a bunch of plates while he was balancing himself on like some kind of like rolling cylinder. And here's the part that blew my mind, right? He does like a fucking ollie on this rotating cylinder to stand on top of another rotating cylinder, all while continuing to keep the plate spinning and balance. It's fucking insane. It was so.
That
I was like, how does somebody do that?
that
How
makes
does
me
somebody
think
do?
of those like street acts that you ever seen the
Yeah,
guys they'll like stack up a bunch of stuff, put a cylinder on the very bottom, and then they'll have like a balance board on top, and then
yeah.
they'll pick someone and say, "Oh, throw me the stuff so I can start juggling." Like I've seen that shit.
No, okay.
That's cool.
So think of that, except he's on top of another cylinder, and then instead of like getting stuff thrown at him, he's spinning like plates on
Yeah,
poles.
yeah.
That's
I was
exactly what that is.
trying to reference something that I've seen because again, I've never been to
Yes.
a circus. So,
I mean, like
but
circuses, minus the animals, are just a bunch of those like street
street act
performers
people,
just
yeah.
cranked to the max.
But
Absolutely.
it's that show, you know. Like
Hmm.
I'm sitting here looking at like their intro, and they got pretty much their whole staff on stage, and they're doing like some type of musical number with shit going on fucking everywhere. Like it's a full blown like performance, right?
Hmm.
You get a street performer. It's just like, oh hey, like this kind of cool. Like oh
Hmm.
wow, I can't do that.
So I guess it's because it's not one specific thing, just any kind of feat of like balance and control. I think is
Mhm.
really cool to see when someone who is truly talented. And then number three would be just fire breathing. It's just fucking cool. It's just really cool. It's just cool when someone goes when
Okay.
there's like a big fucking ball of fire. I don't know. I never found out how they do it. I think it's like it's real fire, but like
Mhm.
how does one like hold fire in their mouth? And like I don't get it. I don't understand how they do that.
I don't know. The only fire breathing that I know of is like the Hawaiian version where they fucking like have the
I
torch and
think
they
it's
blow like alcohol on it and it
oh
fucking yeah, they keep alcohol stored in their mouth and they fucking spit it out, but they have to do it right. But
honestly, it might be something very similar, but it still looks
mm.
cool as fuck. And it's like
Do they
one of
have a
those things
torch
where
or
it's
do they
like,
just straight go fire?
well, they have a torch, but then they put the torch in their mouth and then they blow out the
Oh,
fire.
okay.
So it's fucking rad. Like I said, there is definitely it's one of those things where it's like if you fuck it up, it can be really bad. So
Nah, you just get a little singe, maybe. You know,
just
there's a
just a,
trend about not
you
having
know,
eyebrows anyway. They're just
that's
joining the
true.
trend.
But that
So sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just saying it's really cool. Fire breathing is cool.
I agree. I
Hmm.
have to ask because I don't know if it's real or not, or maybe just like a movie thing, right?
Hmm.
Did you ever see like not a unicycle on like a trapeze, like a wire, like from one platform to the other, and they just ride it across a rope?
Yes,
That's a
they
thing. Oh my
yes,
god!
they usually have some kind of like balance bar to help them out though. But I did see a unicycle on a slack line, but like a really like one way up in the air.
Bro, I can't even do a slack line normally, a foot and a half off the ground. I fucking a whole ass unicycle. Fuck that.
Yeah, no,
Fuck that.
that was pretty cool to see as well. I would maybe put that as like my 4 or 5, but like top 3 definitely like acts of extreme balance, fire breathing, and then the steel BMX sphere of death. Those are my favorite acts.
I always catch myself now that we're talking about it. I'm like thinking about all these things, and I'm like, now is that just some movie magic or is that like a real thing? But then again, I don't even want to put it past people because people that join the circus are fucking have some wild abilities, like those contortionists that fucking just pretzel their fucking body.
Yeah,
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I saw a whole lady fit into a small box before.
Because they fucking like, their knee goes next to their ear and they just fucking
that
sneak on in.
That's one of those acts where every time I saw it as a kid, I couldn't stop watching, but it like freaked me out at the same time. You know what I mean? It was like, oh my god. You know? like it's just, that's the best way I could describe it.
How about when they like lay on their back or their belly, they put their feet over their head and they grab and then they roll around like a fucking wheel.
Fuck, they channel their inner Sonic the Hedgehog.
Or what was it? Samus.
Salmon. Oh yeah, the fucking
Metroid
thing. There you go. You're gaming.
I was like, wait, I'm gaming.
You got this, gamer.
No, I'm not a gamer no more. I retired.
You're retired?
I'm gonna go join the circus act. I can do a backflip. I can do a backflip.
I think you'd be better off as a clown, to be honest. Which, okay, we need to talk clowns. All right, we can't avoid the topic forever. I know you're not the biggest fan. I know we can't avoid the topic forever. Clowns, I think, are so synonymous with the circus. When you asked me earlier, like, what's the first thing I think of when I go to the circus? Like 90% of people would say clowns. So it's just about it. So like, let's talk clown, okay? Let's get down to clown for a little bit. First of all, why don't you like clowns? I know there's a lot of people that don't like them, and there's various reasons. But why do you specifically not like them?
So when I was a wee young lad,
oh boy,
I loved to watch scary movies with my mom and my dad and my family, whatever. So I don't remember how old I was. I was less than 10. I know that. I was watching the original It, like late at night. Late at night being like 8:30, 9 o'clock, whatever for me then. But we were watching it together. The movie gets over. The next day, if I remember right, was like a school day or we had something in the morning. And right after the movie got done, my mom was like, hey, oh boy, go take a shower before you go to bed. I was like, I don't want to. And fucking she got me to take a shower. And then these motherfuckers put on some goddamn clown masks and come in there and fucking scare me while I'm in the fuck shower after just watching It. I don't fuck with clowns no more. I just don't do it. I know now, like, obviously it was just my parents wearing a fucking mask. But no, I don't fuck with clowns. About 4 years after that, we went to this, this isn't why I'm scared of clowns, but just something related. About 4 years after that, we went to this theme park called Busch Gardens. It's on the East Coast. It's actually really nice.
I've heard a lot about that. I've heard a lot about the Busch.
They sectioned their theme park off into themes for Halloween. So like one area will be all clowns. This area will be zombies. This area is ghosts. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's all split up. So wherever you're walking through, every scary creature you'll see will be the same theme. Right. Well, we were walking from one section to the other, and my mom was distracting me, and we were walking through the clown area to get to the ride on the other side of it. And this clown comes up to me. So I'm probably like 12 years old at the time, 11, 12. This clown comes up because my mom, like, hey, come here, waved him over. And so I'm sitting there talking, yada, yada. And he's just walking right next to me, nose down, like in my fucking ear. I'm like, I turn around. I see him. I swing. My fight or flight kicked in and I socked him straight in the fucking nose. I socked him and then ran really fast.
Question.
What?
Did the nose honk when you punched it?
No. It was like one of those rubber masks.
Oh, I was hoping it was like a honk, you know.
Nope. I feel like you actually just punched yourself in the face. Did that hurt?
No.
Oh, that was actually good. I was like,
I'm a great actor, ergo a great clown.
So yeah, anyways, I just don't fuck with clowns
Dude.
at all. You should have seen me playing Mortuary Assistant when I had a clown jump scare. It wasn't
Oh,
fun. I wasn't happy. But yeah.
I heard you
So I just don't fuck
scream.
with clowns. I had
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. It's not so bad anymore to where like I see a clown and I'm like it's like nope, nope, don't wanna. Nope, not gonna do it. Nope. Hey, can we go take a picture with that clown? Nope, you guys
Nope.
got it. I'll take the picture. Nah. Nope. It looks I know it's a 50-year-old man wearing some makeup. Nope. Don't give a fuck.
I just prefer not to. Okay, dude, I almost feel bad for asking. I thought it was just some like lame, irrational fear you had. No, you were actually terrorized by your mother and given like lifelong trauma because of it. What the fuck?
Terrorized.
That's actually really sad. Okay, you know what?
It's okay. It's okay.
Quite possibly the first valid fear of clowns.
They are creepy. Regardless of if you have a traumatic experience, clowns themselves are fucking creepy.
Oh yeah. But I just think of them in the context of like silly goobers and like all the fear goes away. Like I mentioned, I asked about the nose not to be funny, but because there's like I had an actual experience similar to that where I was at what is it called, like Knott's Halloween Haunt, right? Like kind of like the Universal Studios Halloween Haunt, but for a smaller and kind of less good theme park.
Okay.
But basically it was a bunch of Halloween mazes. And there was one that was like circus themed, and there were clowns. And I was just so not afraid of the clowns that when one of them tried to scare me, I honked the nose, but it actually squeaked and I wasn't expecting it to squeak. And that kind of like made me jump a little bit. It was just really funny because the clown smiled and was like, "Gotcha." And I was just like,
now that he's gone, oh, never mind, he's back.
And so like that experience just lives rent free in my head when I think about clowns. Just the one time I honked a clown's nose and the squeak scared me because I wasn't ready for it.
You say that like when you think of circuses, or most people when they think of circuses, the first thing that comes to their mind is clowns.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I just don't even understand why. Because I feel like clowns, could only picture coming in as like little fillers. Like, well, they're kind of switching the scene. They come in, maybe do a little juggling, maybe throw a pie at each other. I don't fucking know. And then they're gone. And then it's like the fucking circuit. Like when I think of circus, I think of circuit act, like the trapeze, the fucking spinning wheels, the fucking balancing tricks, like that stuff. I don't think I don't know. You really associate clowns as like one of the first things with the circus?
Yes, and I think the reason is 100% because of the internet. Because of just the term like clowning around and how...
Don't be a circus clown.
Right, how much more popular that phrase has become. You know, what's the one that people were using like kind of recently? It's like, you're not just a clown, you're the whole damn circus. And so I think
heard that.
It's a common enough phrase that I feel that a lot of people just sort of associate clowns with the circus. Like there are other things that, and we talked about them already, that are really cool about the circus, but it's just it's every circus you go to is going to have a clown. Not all of them will have the same animals. Not all of them will even have animals nowadays. Not all of them might have, you know, fire breathers or plate spinners or contortionists or the really, really cool giant fucking metal cage sphere of BMX death, right? But every circus, no matter where you go, will have a clowns. Except Ringling Brothers in 2023, because that's also one of the things they got rid of. So maybe you might be able to go to the circus now.
Wait, really? They got rid of clowns? Like they said no more clowns?
Yeah. Yeah, clowns, yeah, it's not just animals. They're getting rid of like the old school feel of circuses. Like I said, they really are trying to modernize. And so it's not just like elephants and animals. There's no ringmasters and there's no clowns.
Okay. So with that kind of goes into something I wanted to talk about with this subject.
Okay.
Taking it back a little bit, I had mentioned earlier about Cirque du Soleil, right? Mm-hmm. Have you ever been to like one of those Vegas shows like that? I think they do them in LA too, but I don't know.
No, but I remember when I was younger in Vegas, I would always see like the advertisements for it, and it was always like naked people, and every time I saw it, I'd be like...
So you know what it is more so now, right? Like you've seen this. Would you consider that a circus, since they do pretty much similar tricks, similar show style like that. I've never been to one, but you've been to a circus. I've never been, so I was just curious your thoughts on that,
I feel
and
like
then I'll go into why.
I feel like it is just a circus, but with less clothing. Like, honestly, I think it's just it's just a circus presented in a much more mature way.
Okay. The reason I ask, obviously, is because we talked about now they're making it more modern, right?
Yeah.
At what point with where like society is moving and we get the technology and we get like even Cirque du Soleil, I feel like is kind of mid, right? Like they probably don't sell as many tickets as they probably used to in the earlier years, right? At what point do you see the circus like dying out, like kind of just becoming what Cirque du Soleil is, right? Cirque du Soleil doesn't travel and set up camp and do it in so many different locations, right? I feel like I think of circus and I think traveling, right?
Yeah.
Different cities, different this. They keep all their equipment with them, just like the fair. At what point does that go away? Like they can only modernize so much before it's no longer really like the circus, right?
Well, I feel like you can kind of answer your own question. I think that's what really sets it apart. I think one of the appeals of the circus coming to town is that it's the same show regardless where you watch it, right? You could watch the show in LA and then your friend in New York will watch the same show when they get there like 3 months later. Whereas like something like Cirque du Soleil, it's set up in a theater and it's always going to be there. You have to go there to see the show. And there is a bit of a difference between going to see a show and then having the show like come to you, right? And I do think that as far as like you know, the what do you call it? The necessities of travel, right? I think it's become a lot easier for them without the animals. I mean, anyone that's ever, you know, taken a flight with a pet, you'll know that it's so much easier when you don't have your pet with you. And that's just it. Traveling without animals is considerably easier. There's considerably less baggage. And so I think that maybe that might be one of the things that factored into their decision to drop animals, is to make traveling easier. And I don't blame them, because I mean, have you seen gas prices lately? Oh my God. Sheesh, dude, I would not want to pay for 13 trams that have like 45 horses in them. No, thank you.
Do you think that, like, let's take the Ringling Bros, for example, because as far as I understand, with them reopening, they're still going to travel, right? And have different locations and do those things. Okay.
Yeah, they're doing a tour. The first leg of it just happened, I think it was the 29th, so the previous weekend.
Now, do you think they would ever take like a business model to this? Like, what I mean by that is, okay, we're gonna settle our main circus, like our main fucking thing, down in this area, right? But then I'm gonna hire a fucking manager for whatever to open a circus at this location, and this, like, almost like a franchise, right?
Right.
But that specific group of people won't be doing all the traveling. Now they're gonna hire different groups of people to do the same act, so you get the same show, but obviously there's not a very limited number of talented people in the world. They could find those people anywhere, right? Do you ever see it just going to that model?
That'd be kind of like what Medieval Times does, right?
I don't even know what that is.
You don't know what that is?
No. I'm stupid on this topic.
We don't have time for this. That's a whole other episode. I'll just give you the quick rundown. It's basically like it's a medieval show. It's a medieval dinner and a show. So you go and they sit you in like an arena, and then you watch this like live action show about like knights and princesses and kings and stuff, and there's horses, and it's really cool.
And
they Yes, real jousting. It's fucking awesome. And they serve you real food, but like what I remember is like there's no utensils, because there weren't utensils in medieval times, so you just eat with your hands. It was fun. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. That's another episode. But that's what they do, is they have several locations opened up around the country, and they have like different performers. Like they do the same show, but it's different people doing the show at each location.
Okay.
I mean, as for the circus, I feel like they, at least Ringling Bros, wouldn't. I like I said before, I think part of the appeal is the fact that they are a troupe, a traveling troupe. And that's like, I think what's cool about them being able to travel is they can set up in bumfuck nowhere. And there are people that are like, all right, the circus is in town. Let's head on out, family. Because, like, that's what I did, right? When people think of SoCal, everyone says LA. I even used it in an example not that long ago. But there's so many more towns and stuff, like here in Southern California. And, like, I remember there was one year where the circus set up in Westminster. Do you know where Westminster, California is?
Is it next to Eastminster?
You know, I've lived here my whole life. I don't think a single person has ever made that joke. I'm not even joking.
You can say that shitty joke. It's fine. It was shitty, but I just couldn't help myself, okay?
You're right, but it's like I'm more surprised at the fact that, like, I live in this area. The city of Westminster is next to the city of Garden Grove, which is where I grew up. How the fuck has no one ever made that joke?
I don't know.
It's such a bad joke. It's like the lowest hanging fruit. I'm having a crisis. Anyway, the point is, unless you live in Orange County, you don't really know about these cities like Garden Grove or Westminster. And the circus doesn't care. They'll bring the circus to Westminster, and then they'll go like 5 miles out to another city over in, I don't know, in like Orange, right? Or Santa Ana. They don't care. Like, they'll take it to several of these smaller towns on their way to a bigger city like LA. My frames are dying, but it is what it is.
No, I pulled up their schedule, their tour schedule, and they have it fucking scheduled out for a long time. But I know their little opening one was down in LA near you. You didn't go, right?
No, I had to work that day, unfortunately.
Damn. I was gonna say this would have been good. But yeah, they have it scheduled out. Let's see, they go from LA to Ohio to Wisconsin, Pennsylvania to Ohio, Illinois. But you can buy tickets all the way up to February 16th of next year in Philadelphia.
Right.
And then they have a schedule. You can't buy tickets for it, but like the latest is up to March 22nd for Buffalo, New York. And like that it's saying where and when, but you can't buy the tickets yet.
Right.
And then even after that, they have like another 15 locations that just don't really have any details for yet. But they plan on being around a while, so we'll see. I'm curious to see, because I haven't been able to find it, but like, you know, when a movie comes out, you can get like first week box office sales, like details and shit like that.
Oh, is
I
something
wish
like
I
that
could find that for
circuses?
them. Like, see like how well was their opening weekend, right? Because I don't see fucking anything.
I don't see like hard numbers and stuff, but I am reading a opinion from the LA Times, which like basically said it was pretty good. So, I mean, again, this is the LA Times, so take that as you will.
It could have a good show, but it's still a matter of how many people actually bought tickets and went. You know what I'm saying? Because that's going to be the deciding factor if they can stay in business, is if they're getting those ticket sales.
I'm glad you brought that up, because like I mentioned at the beginning how this is a pretty big shift in circuses, going from having animals be its main attraction to just having no animals at all. And there's gonna be some really old school, old fashioned families that are like hashtag not my circus, no animals, no buy, right? Like, I'm not taking my kids to a circus with no animals. And the thing is, there is we've talked about like the Ringling Brothers mostly, but there are other like big name, I guess, circus brands. I think the biggest one after Ringling Bros is one called Circus Vargas, and that's another one that I went to a lot. They still plan on using animals in their shows, and they're just going to avoid performing in states where it's like illegal.
So this other company you're talking about, did they take a break?
Vargas. No.
Did all circuses take a break during COVID?
During COVID, yeah. I'm pretty sure they did. But yeah, they kind of like, you know, they kind of came out and like dissed Ringling Brothers in a way. They were like, man, F those guys. They're a bunch of clowns. Come to our circus. We're still going to have animals.
Oh yeah, Vargas, have you been around 150 years?
No, they have not.
I think Ringling Bros know what they're doing. Just a thought.
And you're going to see a bit of a shift, right? There are going to be people that are going to be switching their preferred circus based on whether they have animals or not. You know, for some people, no animals is a plus. For others, it's like it's a minus, and you know they prefer going elsewhere to a circus that does have animals. But I still think, I think Ringling Brothers are going to be fine. Like I said, there's a bunch of really cool shit that humans can do, and I think that's a lot of the big attraction. And it's not like there are more shows, there are more live shows that people go to that don't involve animals at all. Like I'm trying to think, you know, I've seen circuses, sometimes they do put up tents, but sometimes they just straight up do their show inside like a pre-built arena, right? Like I've seen a circus show in the Honda Center where the Anaheim Ducks hockey team plays. I've seen a show in there. And you know what else has performed in that building? Disney on Ice.
Nice.
Right? So you have things like, you know, circuses or like figure skating shows. You've had, you know, wrestling events, WWE, fucking cool as shit. There ain't no animals there at all. So there's a bunch of live action shows that tour the United States already, right? That go from arena to arena, venue to venue, and put on these really cool shows that don't have animals. And so I don't think Ringling Brothers is falling behind in any way. I think they're just sort of modernizing, like we said earlier, keeping up with the times. And I think they're going to be fine. I think this was a great decision. I think they're going to be okay. People are already used to watching a bunch of other live action, people only performances that don't have any animals whatsoever. This is just going to be another iteration of that.
And I think it'll definitely appeal to the generation after us.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're getting all the wokeness and activists for this and that. So like they'll be like, oh my God, yes, finally. Like, so I'm sure it'll appeal to quite a few people. But honestly, like for someone like me, I could give a fuck. Cool, no animals. Cool, there's animals. Like
you
I've
should go to a circus.
So...
Go to a circus. Go to a circus. Can we make him do that?
So I was looking. There's not like a nearby one until they come to Sacramento in forever. Remember how I told you?
Bless you.
Thank you. Remember how I told you they have like the dates up to Buffalo, New York? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even come back really to the West Coast, like near me, until like way down the line after that Buffalo, New York one. So like it'll be a while, probably like end of next year. So
well, you know, when they come to town, you should give it a chance, especially because there's no clowns anymore.
You know,
you can't use clowns. You can't use clowns as an excuse anymore.
So
they're gone.
I was gonna ask, like, when you set up seating for a circus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's in a round viewing shape. Do they allow seating 360 degrees around, or do they like? Is there like a front stage and you don't like get to sit behind it? Because obviously that'd make the show kind of weird if you're performing this way. Do you know? Can you remember?
From my memory, most acts can be seen from either side of the arena.
Oh,
like
okay.
if you just think of like a trapeze, right? It's a very horizontal like performance, so it doesn't matter whether you're on the left side or the right side, you'll still be able to see it. And arenas tend to be more oval shaped, not really like circular.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't feel like the side you pick
I only
matters
ask
as
because
much.
I've been to some events where like there is a back, right, and they block off like maybe a 30-degree area of seats to where
They're
you can't go there because it's just bad viewing.
Right.
So I was just curious because if they're doing that, obviously they're losing some seating, some ticket sales in these. But if they're designed to be able to just fill every seat, kind of like Disney on Ice, right? You can watch that from any seat in the house, wherever it's at. It doesn't matter. That could just be like a difference in income. So I was just curious. I was like, I wonder how they do that.
Yeah, I don't think there's much of like a bougie circus thing going on or anything like that. I think
going back to like your old school, like you were like, oh, the guy in the top hat and the fucking whip and would do like the whole
but those
spiel,
are,
right? When he goes out there and stands, he's talking like this way. So if I'm like seated behind him and he's like talking out there, I'm just like, what? Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't be have that good appeal to it.
Maybe. Again, it's been years. I've not gone to the circus as an adult. I've not purchased a circus ticket as an adult, so
God, you suck. You're slacking.
You of all people should not be saying that. Okay? I've actually gone to the circus several times in my life. Okay? You're over here like cowering because of clowns.
But you don't have because of clowns.
You don't have the excuse. You don't have the excuse anymore, all right? All right, next year, Sacramento, go to the circus. We can make a trip out of it. We'll go to the hot springs that are nearby too.
This man had one a couple hours from him literally recently and didn't go. What a slacker.
I had to work that day.
It was there for 3 days.
I had to work all 3 days. I was working all 3 of those days.
You act like you got a new job or something that you can't call out from. Come on.
Okay, all right, listen. There's being facetious, and then there's just straight up lying.
Me? I would never, honestly.
You know what?
Never told a lie in my life. I'm like fucking George Washington.
I was right.
Tell a lie.
I was right at the beginning of this episode. You would make a great clown. Both of us would. We're just two fucking goober clowns. We're just two gaming clowns streaming on the internet.
Let's plan this right now. When we do decide, I'm not going unless you go, and we're just gonna live stream it.
I don't think we can live stream the show, but every circuit has like a little fairground area in front of it to sort of it's where they have the snacks. Sometimes they'll have like a petting zoo. Sometimes the clowns will be out there. I don't know if they'll be there this time anymore. They probably won't
have a petting zoo.
Oh, that's true. Oh man. Well, I didn't think about that because almost every circus I've been to does have some kind of like little fairground area in front of the circus, mostly so that like if you get there before the show starts, you have something to do, right? You can get your tickets, your admission, and then you just sort of hang around. That way you don't have to sit in your seats the entire time. And it also serves as sort of like where you get all your snacks and stuff if you have to leave mid-show or whatever. So I'm like, we could stream that area. I think it'd be fun.
I don't know if we set up a little pod right in front of us, just looking at us, so you get our reactions. We're like, that we might be able to do because I'm like, legally speaking, I don't know if we could live stream the show itself, but if we turn it around nowadays,
I don't know.
Legality is just a gray area.
I don't know.
The law is just a suggestion.
The law episode isn't until like season 3, so I don't fucking know. But we'll see.
Keep a watch out, chat. We'll come back as certified lawyers from Wikipedia.
Yeah, what is it? Season 3, episode 12. We'll take the bar exam live, only on the Trash Guys podcast.
Sure, I get test insomnia or not test insomnia. What the fuck
test
am I
insomnia?
trying to say?
You fall asleep. The teacher brings you your math test, and you go, "Wait, no, insomnia would be you can't sleep. It'd be the opposite."
That's not the word I wanted.
All right, you confuse me.
On. I can't think.
Me.
All right, rewind.
All right.
Rewind sound.
All right. Wrap it up, you clown.
I don't want to. All right, but I think we've pretty much discussed most of what we could talk about with the whole circus returning. I think it's really cool. I'm sure Jess will drag me to one at some point if one is ever near us.
I hope she does.
You mentioned Circus down in wherever. We actually have a Circus hotel casino thing here. They might do a show like that. I don't really know. Never looked into it.
The way they do their shows is it's not like a full show. It's just sort of like once every hour, I think it is. They'll do like one act. Because you haven't been to the Circus at all, right?
I go there to play arcade games.
Yeah, so okay, but have you ever seen like a stage anywhere there at all? Maybe yours doesn't have it.
Think of. It might. I don't explore that. I don't fucking too much smoking and fucking annoying people.
That's true. Right? That's true. Oh my! Even the one in Vegas, like you walk in and you breathe the air of the casino, and it's just like smoke and ash and like stale bread, expired coffee, and like fucking like used condom. Like, it's just fucking gross. It's a gross smell. But that's just a casino. It gets better when you get to the circus area. Yeah, that's how I look every single time I go to Circus. Exactly that. It's so gross.
Died.
But if you can make it through the casino area, at least the one in Vegas, the like arcade area, the arcade and games area is on the second floor, and it's an oval shape, just like a circus arena. And it's cool. It was so much fun as a kid because you get to play carnival games and you'd get to win like stuffed animal prizes. And what I would like to do is win a bunch of them and then combine them into like a bigger prize. It's cool. And then while you're like playing arcade games or carnival games around this like ring, in the center of the ring is a stage. And like once an hour, they would do like some circus act. Like I said, it wouldn't be a full show. It would just be a singular act. Maybe it was some trapeze artist. Maybe it's a contortionist. Maybe it's the really cool spinning plates guy on the rotating cylinder thing, right? But there would be some sort of like circus acrobat act going on.
I was very intently listening and totally just let it slip by that you said it smelled like a used condom. When have you smelled a used condom, sir? What are you doing? You just taking those things and going,
Thank you guys so much for watching the Trash Guys podcast. This is a great episode.
I'm just curious. All right,
I don't know.
Anyways.
Maybe I know what it smells like because I've used a condom. All right, it's called contraception. Maybe try it sometime, guy. All right. Damn, I'd hate to hear the bad news from Jess in the future. Fuck. Is that what you want me to say?
No.
Huh?
Oh,
we're live on
guys,
the air.
So
this is being broadcasted.
Basura did tell me before we started stream that as part of this, he's gonna try and learn how to ride a unicycle for Wednesday's stream. So you guys have that to look forward to.
I did not say that. That is fake news.
He said that to me. He
I
said
debunked that.
I remember it.
That's fake news.
All right. On that note, I think it's about time to wrap up this episode for the night, guys. Do appreciate you hanging out. This was fun. Like I said, I've never been to a circus, but Basoda was very excited to talk about it.
The next time we do a circus episode will be after you've gone to a circus. I'll make sure of that.
Either while I'm at it or after I've gone to one. So be on the lookout for that. Also, keep in mind that our new podcast schedule is Mondays, not Wednesdays anymore. So we'll see you next Monday. And I don't know if we actually decided, Basoda, did we want to bump it up to 7:30? Or did we want to leave it at 9 o'clock? Did we decide
Let's tell them 8, but pretend it's 7:30 because we're still going to be late. But if we're late to us, then it's on time to them. If we trick ourselves into not being on time, then instead of late to them, they'll think that not late, it's actually on time.
Did you hurt your brain trying to do that?
Yes.
Okay. On that note, everybody, have a great rest of your night. Make sure to check us out on Spotify and YouTube with those good old links that I'll be putting in the chat. And we will see you guys next Monday at some time. We'll figure out what time.
Exactly. See you later, clowns.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good one. Have a good night. Honk, honk. Bye-bye.